Hello, everyone. I welcome you to this workshop. Today, you will learn along with me how to recognize what's holding you back with the help of reading your thought pattern. My intention here is to teach you a technique, a similar one that I taught my client here. She's Shreya. And what we will do is I'll walk you through Shreya's experience with a small anecdote from her life and using the same example and the methodology, you could take help from Shreya's case and find your own thought pattern and decipher and explore what's really holding you back in life. So, coming to this case, Shreya is a senior consultant. She's an excellent performer, and but since past few years, she finds herself in a bit of a deep emotional distress. And while we worked and kind of scanned through to understand what could really be wrong, Shreya was not uh, able to really articulate or understand, or rather, I should say, identify what was it that was the problem. But somehow she felt there was something amiss. And that's where we tried some methods and techniques. And finally, I thought of an idea and a method that I had learned while I was getting trained for my cognitive behavior therapy license. So I gave this to Shreya, and I'm sure you will equally find this beneficial. So get a pen and a paper. You might need to make some notes and then follow along and let's figure out the right way Shreya was able to identify what really was her problem. So I asked Shreya that since you're not really able to put a finger on what really is wrong, and despite that she was not able to identify, she was emotionally in a quite distressful state. So I asked her, Shreya, where is it? One question I asked was, where is it that you spend most of your time when you are just with yourself? And on that, she replied that commuting to office every single day. So I said, okay, it usually takes an hour for her. And so I said, fine, Shreya, what I want you to do now is for the next coming 3 weeks, you need, on your way to office, make a note of all the thoughts that typically goes through your head as you commute to office. Yes, we have hundreds and thousands of thoughts every single day. But every day while you're driving, I said, do not really listen to music or any other thing. Instead, pay attention to what you tell yourself or the thoughts that cross your mind as you commute. Because this was the only time when Shreya was with herself. Otherwise, at work, she was so busy that she rarely found time to, connect, forget with others, even with her own self. So it started, and I just asked her to make note of her thought process. So on her way, Shreya found a lot of skyscrapers, like any other town in India, I should say city in India, with tall buildings, plush offices, nice infrastructure. And also, along with that, Shreya said she also found around some nooks and corners people. While at one end there were beautiful shops, the other end there were humble, modest shops in which people sell all sorts of produce that they were into. And this kind of fascinated Shreya, seeing the contrast of high skyscrapers to this roadside vendor, each to his own in their own capacity. trying to sell either a product or a service. So I said, fine, go on and keep collecting your thoughts. And this exercise went on for I should say, I think more than 3 weeks. And as in these weeks, I asked Shreya to keep reflecting, specific to not only to just commute, but even a time when she's just with herself, to make note of all these thoughts, specifically the recurring ones that cross our mind, so that I help her understand, or we do a pattern recognition to probe further. And as it turns out, after close to more than 4 weeks, this is how I'm just sharing with you, friends, a summary of Shreya's thoughts. They were like even way more than what you're seeing on the screen. But just for your understanding, just like Shreya is just like one of us. So these were her thoughts, which she was making a note of it for close to around more than 3 weeks. And as she was making a note of it, I asked Shreya that after a point of 3 to 4 weeks, it was almost a month now, we now need to, from from these thoughts, try to find a pattern of what are some of those thoughts that you constantly, on a recurring basis, either it crosses your mind or you end up thinking. When you look at things, when you look at people, because each one of us has our own unique world of perception. So if she was looking at those skyscrapers or those beautiful uh, carts and vendors, the roadside sellers, each one of us may have a different perception of how we perceive these shops, or sometimes we will not even observe. But since Shreya was consciously making a note, I asked her to write this down. So this is what she came up with. And then later on, I said, from the thoughts, let's now just connect the ones which are one, the most recurring ones, and also the ones where they are connected to each other, like on a similar lines. So if you could see on the screen, we now have a little less number because there were many other not relevant thoughts that we've removed here. Now in this, if you look at and read the thought bubbles, you will find that in most of her thought process, Shreya was constantly looking at people wherever she went, whether it was in her client meetings, to her travel commute to office, back and forth, looking at this roadside vendors, the skyscrapers, anyone, be it the modest, humble flower seller or a CEO in the office. This is the thought process she had. What's their standard of life? Look how happy they are. I wonder how. How is everyone so rich except me? Maybe I should also do business. Maybe it's easy as a freelancer, or in fact, as a vendor. How do they manage their saving? Where these people get their paid clients? I don't know how they manage it. When will I earn and achieve this goal? What could be an easy way to earn more in less time? So, out of all the thoughts, when I asked Shreya, when she wrote this, she herself was a bit surprised, taken aback by what really came up and surfaced up. And here's where she realized that what really was amiss, why she was emotionally distressed in her present day scenario, basis on a difficult thing that she was going through. These were her dominant thoughts. And basis on this, we figured out that there was the exploration went on for 3 sessions I did with Shreya. I'm not putting all those details here because it was a very deep dive probe we did. And I gave her some other several tools to further understand. But basis on the thoughts and the patterns we recognize, we found that Shreya was trying to explore ways to become more rich and successful. She was also contemplating whether she should do business or she should stay in her present job. And her third pattern recognition was, how can she be happy just like others? Now, friends, the pattern recognition I'm sharing with you that I worked with Shreya is again based on a deep dive, and that's not included in this particular workshop. What I want to bring to your attention is that when we find ourselves in situations where we cannot point a finger at what's really wrong, a technique like this can help us really get to the point. If you're making notes and if you, just like Shreya, feel that you don't really understand, you don't really have to commute to work and back anytime, which is your me time, a time that you spend with yourself. Try to make a note of your thoughts. Once you do so, do it on a 3 to 4 weeks, because that's where we will be able to recognize the pattern. And then from there, you need to collect the most common recurring thoughts, basis on which we will come to the new insights that may surface up just the way they surfaced up for Shreya. And she was able to now understand what really was at play. Now, it doesn't end here. These three things with just the thought pattern recognition, again, which we came across, we came up with after a deep dive, 3 hour long session, and using some other tools as well. So if you need help, you can connect with me and I can help you take that deep dive route. Back to Shreya's case, having found these thought pattern recognition, now Shreya had more clarity as to what really was at play. And then I asked her, out of these three, which one is it that she feels that resonates more and at a more deeper level with what she's looking for? Because again, friends, what really comes up may not necessarily all three may be equally important. Here's where an expertise of a coach would come in to help the individual understand, to recognize out of the pattern also what really is, which direction they need to take and where they need to head on from here. The way Shreya was able to figure out what really was at play, I also helped her understand that the scarcity mindset that she was operating out of as a loop, it starts here, like the way we did the thought process thing, where she captured her thoughts. I gave her a time period, a time when she's with herself, and the most recurring thoughts. These thoughts, when we are constantly working and writing, I also would like to add here for each one of you to understand that our thoughts are what form our beliefs. Some beliefs we carry from our childhood, but our new beliefs, which are formed on a almost a frequent basis, are based on a constant influx of thoughts we have every single day. So it all begins in our mind as thoughts. Then on a daily basis, what we tell ourselves, what we believe in is our beliefs. And beliefs have feelings. This then drives our behaviors. Shreya's behavior was driven by the belief she held about the money she had, the scarcity mindset she was operating out of. And since this belief was operating in her subconscious mind, everything she saw, whether a roadside vendor, a humble, modest uh, seller of flowers, or a high skyscraper, to her, each one of them were happy, prosperous, except herself. This was a belief she had with the constant daily thoughts. Her mind was indirectly, the subconscious mind was scripting it in her mind. The neurons that were creating these memories, these experiences, leading her to believe in it. And the more she believed in it, the more she kept repeating these things to herself. This had driven her behaviors, which was when she would behave in her, whether it is at her office or at home or making a purchase, subconsciously, she's not even aware of. She was operating out of a scarcity mindset. That scarcity mindset would then lead her into experiences where she was not really getting the results she wanted because she deep down never believed she deserved that. She was worthy of it. Everything, even if she want to purchase something, her scarcity mindset would say, hey, wait, do you think you deserve this? Do you think it's worth, it is so expensive and I don't think you're worthy of it. Or if at all, she may want to invest in a business or do something on her own. Nothing of it would help her move forward. That's really what kept her emotionally distressed because her experiences revalidated her limiting beliefs. When her experiences revalidated her beliefs, this cycle continued and eventually it ends here, meaning it becomes a habit. So having a habit is something you do it on a daily, it's a part of your personality. You do it on a daily basis, which is in case of Shreya, she was a person with a scarcity mindset. And this will manifest, friends, both in her relationship, in her health, in her job, in a business that she would do, in the way she approach people, in the way she want to start something, and onto herself. So understand how important and how powerful thoughts are. If we are able to recognize our thought patterns, is only when we will be able to change our beliefs, drive our behaviors that kind of serve us, not hurt us, indulge into experiences which are more positive, optimistic, and the way we desire them to be. And we end up with healthy habits. So, this way, when I explain this to Shreya, as I'm explaining it to you, I just want you to make a note of this, that anytime you feel you're kind of lost, you don't know where and what's wrong, go back to this cycle. Go back to recognizing your thought patterns. And you never know, just like Shreya, you may get to learn a lot about yourself, about your mindset, and then how you then change your beliefs and behaviors to experiences and habits. For that, you can anytime reach out to me. I shall share my link in the description box where you could connect, and you could also connect with me on the number given here via WhatsApp or the link through which we can have a free coaching consultation call. Let's talk and let me help you find what's missing in your life. Thank you.